Damn it, Jim. Okay, so apparently Sam Harris finally noticed that Reza Aslan was going after him again, quote mining, Waking Up podcast. If you haven't noticed, Reza was fired from CNN, or his show was canceled. I assume it's true. I've heard it in a couple different places. If I'm wrong about that, that's fine. This may explain his sudden re-interest in Sam Harris. But I'm willing to label him, for purposes of understanding his methodology, a ideological terrorist. I mean, this is not me going after Reza for being, for having a different opinion. This is not saying we should not respect him as a person, as a human being. He still deserves respect, even though what he's doing is a crappy thing. But it is a form of ideological terrorism because he doesn't care about the context of the message. He just wants people to believe that Sam Harris is not a respectable person, that he hates Muslims. He's calling for this anti-Muslim thing. I mean, he has Muslims friends. He listens closely to what Muslims have to say. People that, the traditions and who he supports, the Quilliam group in the UK, very important group to him and to a lot of people that want to fight terrorism, but they don't want to have the retaliation of people identifying just Muslims. And this is really, really, really important to understand. It's not about it's just not about entire ideology. You're specifically looking at the disliberal ideologies that are being preached, what's referred to as Islamist. So it's the people that believe in Sharia law and they want to see a theocratic government. Okay, not a liberal democratic government. So this is the ideological war that's being fought. And dirty tactics, which Reza has been caught time and time and time again doing, lying, misrepresenting, simply not engaging truthfully about the facts. You know, there is certainly interpretations there's many different interpretations of the facts, and we need to listen to each other about how to actually deal with the actual problems. But he's not interested in actually having a conversation, about actually learning, about actually engaging, and actually finding solutions to minimize violence. He simply wants Sam Harris to be villainized, and anyone that talks to Sam Harris to be villainized. So, and these are terrorist tactics. So I don't think it's an extreme statement to make, and I'm willing to back that up. But I was on Twitter, and I just wanted to sort of emphasize exactly what I'm saying. People were saying, well, just ignore them. You don't ignore terrorists. You can't ignore terrorists. You need to respond to them respectfully. You need to demonstrate the type of respect that you expect. And so you need to demonstrate honesty, you need to demonstrate truthfulness, and it's not a fight. Now, one of the tweets, and I encourage you to go look at the Sam Harris tweet post, and I will, if I remember, I'll put a link to the bottom here, to look at those tweets. And you can even, if you can get on Reza's Twitter, you can see these posts. But basically, because many of us have listened to the actual podcast where Reza is extracting this from, and even within that podcast, they make a joke about the fact that, yeah, someone's going to quote mine this, and they're going to present this as if this is our position. We know this is going on, and as more and more people do it, and more people can become aware of how this is working, then we will be more sensitive to it and will be more critical of it. Sometimes the messenger is all we need to know about the person. And the thing that Reza is doing by demonstrating his willingness to misrepresent, he's diminishing his effectiveness. More and more people will realize, hopefully, and this is why you have to respond, is you, as many people as will listen to reason, you have to get them to understand what he's actually doing. And this is simply not an okay tactic, and if you engage in this kind of tactics, you will be marginalized. But that doesn't mean we won't listen to you, because you don't necessarily want to simply stop listening. Now, if he had no followers and he had no influence, then we could safely ignore him. But we can't while there are people that still listen to him. So you need to take that opportunity, any chance you can get in onto his platform, any chance that you can weasel into his domain and get your message known, the better off you are. So it is, if you want to, people like to use the fighting terms. I don't like to use it. I like to instead think about it as marketing. You're marketing your values. Your product is your values. Reza is marketing his product and his values. And we're saying our values are superior to his values. And we do this all the time. And we don't have to apologize for it, if we believe in our values. Now, one of our values is free speech. One of our, and I say this, I'm using Sam Harris's values, saying collectively, saying they're our values or my values specifically. But these are the values that are being preached. You know, these are the values that we're marketing, even to people that listen to Reza. And eventually, hopefully, we'll get as many of those people as possible to listen to reason. So that's why it's so important to call it what it is, call a spade, and be aware of them, be respectful of them. But these tactics are vicious, and they're not the appropriate democratic, civil discourse that we should be having with people. It's not that we're afraid of emotions, it's that emotions don't help you in terms of having constructive dialogue. So if you have to be emotional, but not in a conversation. Try to avoid that when dealing with Reza or anyone you disagree with. Step back from the conversation, re-engage when you have worked through your emotions, you understand what triggered your emotions. So that's how we have an effective dialectic with people. This is not a debate, this is a conversation. These fighting ideologies that we use shouldn't inform us in terms of how to have conversations. Debates aren't conversations. So keep that in mind when engaging with Reza supporters. You want to demonstrate good conversational skills, good writing skills, and identify things you can agree with. Find those common themes that you agree on. What are our values? A good way to do it is, what are you trying to accomplish? You know, asking an open-ended question like that will help people say, okay, how are your actions, how is what you're doing, or how is what you think should happen going to affect the outcomes, the goals that you're trying to do by doing this? What is it that you want, right? Now, I joked to Sam Harris on a tweet, I said, well, Reza just needs a hug. Now, you said, well, that's not what's going on. In a way it is. It only, if you further look back at human behavior in terms of people want to be part of a community, they want to be respected, they want to feel belonging to a community. And so we are defensive of our communities. But in your community, being able to reach across the aisle, always being willing to engage with someone if they want to be rational. So let's say Sam Harris gets an opportunity to be on stage with Reza Aslan. I know he would never want to do that, but I would say it would not be a bad thing. Now, he would have to have contingencies like, look, Reza, look at all the things you've said. Can you at least apologize for that? I mean, giving the opportunity. Now, Harris has some good advisors around him, and they will make sure that he wouldn't do it for the wrong reasons. But giving people, always giving them the opportunity to change their ways. is a good thing to do. It's not a thing of weak. It's not being weak. You don't have to do this. You're doing it because you want to make the situation better. That's your goal. And that's why saying give Reza a hug is just a matter of saying, hey, be nice. You don't have to be mean in return when someone's mean to you, because you are in a position of power. You're not afraid of your life. You're not afraid of your relevance. And if he lost his job, which I believe he did, he's sort of in an emotional state. Why does Sam Harris get this big platform and I don't have my big platform anymore? And even though he would never come out and say it, this is a part of what's going on for Reza. So be aware what's going on. Be courteous and nice to everyone around you, especially in these very touchy issues. Thank you for watching.